Morning, pandemic world. I am Shireen and welcome to the Cincai Malaysia show. Hiya, Cincai only lah. We the Malaysians always have humor in everything we do. Hiya, Cincai only lah. Just like having a cup of chinchow in the morning. So, you may ask, what is Cincai? Cincai basically means whatever, but you can also use it to describe where one does anything casually or as one pleases. So, we are here today to know if electronic signatures are recognized in Malaysia. Could it be valid? Since I'm the host of Cincai's show, I decided to do a little research about it, just to make me feel a little smart, since our topic today isn't all that Cincai. The COVID pandemic 19 is unlike anything that could have been predicted, and it has profound impact on businesses globally. Given the governmental measures and restrictions promulgated by the Prime Minister of Malaysia, including the Movement Control Order, this has placed constraints on businesses, causing them to review their standard working practices and to consider alternative options to carry on with their business activities. The question is, when contracting parties are separated by location, are we really ready to substitute the traditional pen-to-paper signature with electronic signature? Whilst this may be the usual practice of some organizations, however, for many others, the use of an electronic signature will raise concerns with regard to the possible abuse or fraud, as well as the validity with legal enforceability of the signature process. A quick look at the Electronic Commerce Act 2006 will tell you that we already have in place an act which provides for legal recognition of electronic signatures. The ECA also defines an electronic signature as any letter, character, number, sound, or any other symbol, or any combination thereof created in an electronic form adopted by person as signature. Interesting, eh? Now, I would like to call up the 4 guest speakers who would be joining me today to give their insights on our topic. We have Ms. Fazreen from the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia, Mr. Tiong Yong Chen and Ms. Tan Kai Sing, who are lawyers, and Ms. Gayatri, who is a banker from Maybank. Let us welcome them. All right, so Ms. Fazreen, since you're from the licensing division in the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia, could you kindly explain to us what exactly is the difference between electronic signature and digital signature?
Thank you, Shireen, and hello everyone. First of all, I am truly overwhelmed to be here in the Cincai show and to share my knowledge about our topic today, which is mainly about electronic signature in Malaysia. Anyways, back to the question. What are the differences between e-signature and a digital signature? Basically, an electronic signature and digital signature has always been used interchangeably, and it is crucial to know that actually they are nothing alike. A digital signature can be an e-signature, but not vice versa. So, generally speaking, a digital signature is a signature that is generated by an asymmetric crypto system which provide a secure key pair. This asymmetric crypto system is verified according to the public key that were listed in a valid certificate. And this valid certificate is issued by a licensed certification authority, which is also known as the LCA. Next, the digital signatures are designed based on a set of algorithms and a unique authentication process, which are known to be tamper-proof. Digital signatures also can be able to determine the identity of the signer and verify the authenticity of documents. So you can see here in the bigger picture, this provides more security and protection compared to any other types of e-signatures. All right. Um, Compared to electronic signatures, right? The digital signatures can be understood to be more complex and it is process based. As I mentioned earlier, rather than being a mere symbol affixed to an electronic document, a digital signature requires a verification by way of a digital certificate, which is private key, and this private key is known only by the persons allowed to access the document to sign it. So this private key only corresponds to public key held by the creator of the document, and it allows them to determine the legitimacy of of the digital signature and to track any changes if made in the document. And I would like to add some more for your information that this public key infrastructure, um, also known as the PKI, is to assist all types of companies and institutions in conducting their business over the internet. So here in MCMC, we have listed four organizations that we have verified and that they own their own license. And they are the Post Digit Sdn Berhad, MSCTrustgate.com Sdn Berhad, Telecom Applied Business Sdn Berhad, and of course, RAFCOM Technologies Sdn Berhad. Thank you. I think that's all from me. I'll pass to their host, Miss Shireen.
All right. Thank you, Miss Basreen. Now, Mr. Tiong, are electronic signatures valid in Malaysia?
Hello, everybody. I hope you're all doing well during this pandemic. I would like to thank the host, Miss Shireen, for having me here on the show. My name is Tiong Yong Cheng, and I'm a lawyer from the Whatever Law Firm. As we go through another lockdown, we are now seeing a rising need for the use of electronic signatures. Yes, to answer your question, Shireen, electronic signatures have been legally valid in Malaysia ever since 1997 under the Digital Signature Act of 1997. This Digital Signature Act was later succeeded by the Electronic Commerce Act of 2006. Under Section 9 of the Electronic Commerce Act, there are three key requirements that have to be met for an electronic signature to be recognized as valid and enforceable under the law. The first condition is that the Electronic Signature Act has to be legally attached or be able to be logically associated with the document. Secondly, it has to adequately identify the person who signed the document and his or her approval of the information to which the signature relates. The last requirement is a little vaguer and I will have to elaborate on it shortly. So the last requirement is that the electronic signature has to be as reliable as is appropriate given the purpose and the circumstance of the electronic signature. Now, for an electronic signature to be recognized as reliable as is appropriate, it first has to satisfy another three conditions. Firstly, the means of the electronic signature has to be linked and under the sole control of the signer. The second condition and the third condition are both rather similar, and it states that any changes made to the electronic signature and document have to be detectable after the time of signing. So now that we know how electronic signatures can be valid, in what circumstances can we use electronic signatures? There are many different things that you can use electronic signatures for, such as legal documents like non-disclosure agreements, corporate documents, commercial transactions, and witnessing. Also, many contracts are able to use electronic signatures, like simple contracts, real estate contracts, employment contracts, and the list goes on and on.
Wow, that's very interesting. I would like to know if it is legally binding if I use platforms such as WhatsApp to sign a document.
Well, actually, you can. In the recent case of Yang Kon Singh and Anwar against Yi Wenkai in 2014, the Federal Court of Malaysia held that the legal requirements of an electronic signature can be achieved in the form of an electronic message or SMS, as long as it adheres to Section 9 of the Electronic Commerce Act. And of course, that includes messaging apps, such as WhatsApp as well. Thank you, Ms. Shireen, for having me. I'd like to pass it back to her.
All right, now Miss Kaisi.
Good day, everyone. I'm Kai Sing, a lawyer from the Lala Law Firm. Mr. Tiong provided us some useful advice on when electronic signatures could be used. So now I'm going to talk about the circumstances in which electronic signatures could not be used. Although electronic signature appears to be a viable alternative to physical signatures, there are a few practical considerations to keep in mind. According to Section 2, Subsection 2 of the Electronic Commerce Act 2006, there are 4 cases that generally require a traditional handwritten signature. So what are the 4 cases? First, the power of attorney. Second, the creation of wills and codicils. Third, the creation of trust. And lastly, negotiable instruments such as bills of exchange and promissory notes. Also, documents that require notarization of a fixing of a seal may not be able to sign electronically. Based on Section 10, Subsection 1 of the Electronic Commerce Act, where law requires a seal to be affixed to a document and the document is in the form of an electronic message, the document may be signed using a digital signature as defined under the Digital Signature Act 1997, but not any other form of electronic signatures.
Does this mean electronic signatures can be used in every of transaction other than the four cases you listed?
No. Although the Electronic Commerce Act 2006 only prohibits the use of electronic signature in the four types of transactions that I mentioned just now, you can't just assume that the signature requirement in all other commercial transactions can be fulfilled by using electronic signatures, especially in transactions which are subject to requirement of other written laws in Malaysia. For example, a physical red ink signature is always required in any dealing with real property under the Malaysian National Land Code.
Are there any examples of uncertainties between different legislations?
Yes. For example, as stated in Section 66, subsection 3 of the Companies Act 2016, a document signed by at least two authorized officers of the company has the same effect as if it were executed under the common seal of the company. Since the Companies Act does not forbid the use of electronic signatures, it is presumed that the authorized officers may use electronic signatures to execute the document. However, if there's a legal obligation to affix a seal to a document, the Electronic Commerce Act provides that such a requirement can only be fulfilled by the use of digital signature, as I said just now. The mismatch between the Electronic Commerce Act and Companies Act arguably creates confusion and uncertainty about whether a document requiring the affixation of seal can be signed using electronic signatures. So that's all for me. Thank you so much for listening and hope you have learned something from it.
All right. Now we will have Miss Gayatri, who is a banker from Maybank, to share her insights on e-signature. Miss Gayatri.
Miss Gayatri.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you to the Cincai show for having me here today. I am Gayatri Govindasamy representing Maybank. In this era, as you all know, the number of commerce transactions conducted electronically has increased significantly, so has the use of e-signature on a worldwide scale. With the use of a debit card, click of a mouse, or digital signature pad, someone can be involved in a legally binding contract. E-signatures are a personalized and unique form of identification that allows an individual to conduct commerce electronically in a variety of ways. For example, some of them can be emails, corporate ID, password protection, or PIN codes sent to mobile number. And these can be segregated by qualified electronic signature called as QES and advanced electronic signature called as AES.
Okay, so Miss Gayatri, what do you think about the advantages and the disadvantages of the usage of e-signature?
Okay, Ms. Shireen, allow me to go through the advantages first and then continue with the disadvantages. As for the advantages of e-signature, you all know that currently we are growing into a paperless society, which in a way, e-signature is contributing to it, and it helps us to grow further into it. Besides that, e-signature also helps to increase the rate of transaction processing. People thus can use electronic signature to conduct businesses from thousands of miles away if needed. It helps increasing the global businesses, opportunities, and we could also see a potential raise in the profit margin. To be said, electronic signatures are easy to use. The process allows for signing of multiple documents at once with the right platform. As you all know, there are cases where people are able to forge your signature when it's inked. I'm sure we all don't want that. But to be said, it is fairly difficult to forge your electronic signature, which is a good thing. In general, we are able to save time because time is gold. And on top of that, we definitely save a lot of storage spaces because we are growing into a paperless society. Okay, now I will move on to the disadvantages of e-signature. Well, to be considering of our previous generations of individuals may not have been exposed to the newer technology. Hence, this is why we may be able to deter some clients from using electronic signature. On top of that, equipment aren't always cheap. This is why, because not every company or businesses have the convenience of signing document online because they do not have a proper signature tool. The most important would be the security of the document. It can be compromised if you choose a platform that doesn't focus on the encryption, which is why it can lead to dangerous information being leaked or confidential information. There are possibilities that e-signatures would be challenged on their validity of such failing to meet the statutory requirements. It may be possibly not accepted, nor can be recognized under the local authorities because not all parts of the government is familiar with this concept. So, based on my experience, I believe this could be the possible pros and cons of using e-signature as a form of acceptance in this era. I would say this is partly from my observation as a banker, and some are theoretically proven on the internet. To consolidate all these points, it can be said that in order to use e-signature, it certainly depends on what type of document or criteria are you going to use it on. And always make sure it is within your reach. That is all from me, Miss Sherry.
Wow, that was one heavy session. Am I right? You guys deserve a Cincai drink. Thank you so much for giving your time to be here on our show. Thank you, and this is Shireen once again signing off from the Cincai Malaysia show. Toodles!